So I want to get into real estate, but don't know where to start.
Well, what I would say is to join the Future Cash Flow Club. It's a community of investors where we talk about wholesaling, we talk about creative deal structuring, buying houses subject to, all of the creative stuff that everybody's talking about. You don't need a real estate license or any of that.
Wow, where do I sign up?
Well, I would say go to futurecashflowclub.com. That's futurecashflowclub.com. You can even get a free trial. Try it out today.
Hey Chris, is that you? Damn.
Can you hear me? I don't know. If you don't know who I am by now, I don't know what you've been doing. You been asleep? Let me wake you up with something. Straight up. Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Chris Monroe. R to the O-E. I flip houses, rent cars, and make money. You know I'm not no motherfucking dummy. This how we do. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the student master teacher, Mr. I Stay Woke, Chris Cashflow Money Monroe, and I'm right back at you with another real estate video. I want to say happy Easter or happy Resurrection Day or whatever day you like to all of you that are out celebrating where you get church clothes today. You ain't been all year, but now you want to go today. You know how that go. So good, happy Easter to you and to your family and all of that. So tonight we got an interesting live for you. We're going to be talking about some creative real estate. Going to be deep diving a little bit more into the rent to own process, what that means, how that works, all of that type of stuff, because it all makes sense when you know and understand how it works. So a lot of people look at real estate as something that they cannot get into, whether they don't have the credit, I don't have a 790 credit score, or they don't have the cash, ain't got $100 million in the bank, or I got to go get my real estate license. They all tell you go get that license. You can, but I'm here to tell you none of that stuff I just named is required. None of it. You can use it. You can use the cash. You can use the credit. You can use the license. You can use a lot of things, but the main thing you need is a skill set. You need to understand how the game is played from both sides, because every transaction has a minimum of two sides, sometimes more, but it's a minimum, a buyer and a seller. Somebody want to sell, somebody want to buy. We figure out and make it happen from there. But you need to understand how the game is played, why things are done the way they're done, and really look at it and see one real estate deal. You might have 15 or 20 people eating off of one deal. 15 or 20 people eating off one transaction of a house transferring from Joe Smith to Sally Sue. That one transfer, in between that, you got all these people eating. Who are these people? The seller's going to have their agent, possibly, maybe not have an agent, who knows? The buyer's going to have their agent, possibly, we don't know. It may not be represented. You have title companies and or attorneys. Sometimes they do different. One side might have one title company, the other side might have another title company. There's different ways, then you got the inspectors, the appraisers, The lenders, they're charging you points and all these fees. You're like, what's all this stuff? The house was 300,000 and I ended up 347,000. Where did that 47,000 come from? You got to ask yourself that question. That can definitely happen when you don't understand how the game is played. People are peeling off the money. Like I said, a title company, they got their fees all incorporated in there. The inspectors, some people want you to do a radon inspection. What do they got? The all the other inspections, just the property inspection. Is the house even going to stand up? These different things, all these people within that transaction are going to eat. The locksmith, they're going to change the locks. Like I was talking about that little key thing. I don't know if you saw my Instagram at ChrisMonroeSTL, talking about, hey, I found this little thing where they talking about you can just go ahead and switch the key without calling the locksmith. What? Last time I called my locksmith, he told me about it. So on the houses that have that little thing on it, I don't have to call them anymore. I'll just change it myself. And I did it quite easily. Took not even 5 minutes. So when you understand how everybody's playing and what everybody's at and what everybody's doing, you can understand how to navigate. The clean out people, everybody house got junk in it. They got dining room sets in them they don't want. The big cabinets on nobody want. All kind of stuff. Trash, debris. Especially if you're doing like we do. We buy houses as is. They might have to be cleaned out. Might have to be cleaned out and cleaned up. Not just cleaned out and cleaned up. Somebody got to clean it to make it look good and sparkly if it's not already good. Then you got painters, rehabbers, contractors, all of those people that are going to make that house tip-top shape. The lawn care. Look at all these people. I mean, dang. Is that 15 people yet? I don't even know. I think that's 15 people, maybe more. But just know in one transaction, everybody can eat. Wholesalers can eat. You can have multiple wholesalers in one transaction. They call it co-wholesaling or JV, joint venture. You can have multiple people eating off of that same one deal. So it's just going to depend on where you want to be at in the deal. You just make sure you get your slice of that pie because in real estate, we all eat. You can eat, I can eat, we can all eat. We got cake and eat it too. Is that right, Justin? Try to match me today. I see you. So, one transaction, a whole bunch of people can eat off of one deal in real estate. That's the beauty I love about it. You be thinking, oh, I'm just going to get my little 500. You can go take pictures. I forgot about the picture, man. You got real estate agents on both sides, title company on both sides, contractors fixing up properties, clean up, clean out people, painters, all of this different stuff. Everybody eating off the deal. Wholesalers, we all eating. Why aren't you getting your slice of the pie? That's the question I would be asking if I wasn't in real estate. As a matter of fact, you know how people say, hey, man, I'm going to get in real estate. What do I normally tell them, Justin?
What you normally tell them is like,
you are already in real estate. You just don't know it. Everybody in real estate, unless you can leave the planet, and none of us can leave the planet. We're all in real estate. We just don't understand. We are most of the time on the wrong side of it. We're not on the side that receives the benefit of real estate, not just paying rent to somebody for the rest of our life. And I know people that have paid rent for their whole life, 40, 50, 60, 70 years rented for their whole life. What do you think about that concept, Justin? Should people rent for their whole life?
I think if you have real estate and you rent, I don't really see a problem with that. Some people like the flexibility of renting, but obviously with what we teach, you can be, in a creative deal and gaining equity and being something that you like. So with flexibility, we don't have to stay in any of these houses, to be honest.
That's true. I think everybody should own some real estate. You know how they always talking about all the wealth gap and we can't come up. It's all in the real estate from what I'm seeing. So I think it's coming out of two things. And this is in your wheelhouse now, Justin. I think it's coming from the real estate and I think it's coming from insurance. That real estate and that insurance, those are the elephants in the room. And I'm not an insurance expert. I like to deal and dabble in real estate. But all I see is this wealth being passed around right in front of my eyes. Have you seen large chunks of money go over to people in insurance as well, Justin?
Hell yeah, definitely in insurance.
Insurance is the wild, wild west too. You said real estate was the wild, wild west, but I think insurance is as well. It's part of the play. So, a lot of people don't want to take the time to learn and study and say, how are they doing this stuff, man? How are they passing this wealth left, right, up, down, all these different directions and not making it make sense? I want to know, where do I get in it? Where do I fit in it? And how can I get into the game? And if you're not getting in the game, you're playing yourself. I'm just going to tell you the straight truth. Everybody should be understanding how the real estate game is played. That doesn't mean you have to necessarily own the house you live in, because that's another concept. You know, when they say, oh, you should own the property you live in, not necessarily. It may be better for you to rent the one you're in, but you should have a house or some property or some type of real estate that's paying you that thing that I like called cash flow. Cash flow is everything, because why is cash flow everything? Bills don't stop. Your bills won't stop. You're going to always have an electric bill. You're going to always have a gas bill. You're going to always have a sewer bill. That's even the one that nobody can get rid of. I don't know how. You always going to have a tax bill unless you're exempt or something. There's always going to be some type of bill. So to combat a bill, that don't mean to go get another job, which you can do that. That's an option. But you can only work so many hours in a day. Why not have something pay you whether you go to work or not? Something should be paying you. What the old man say? If you don't learn to make money in your sleep, you will work until you die. And I don't want to work until I die. I've seen a lot of people do it. Before I got here, I mean, I'm, middle-aged myself, and I'm like, man, I've seen a lot of people be like 80, 90 years old. Talking about I'm door greeting at Walmart. Do you want to be a door greeter? You have to make the decision today to say, hey, I'm going to get in this real estate game, give me some doors, figure out how to play this game, and get in the game. Because if you don't, that's your fault. That's regret. Because I even thought that before I got into real estate. I'm like, man, I can't get into that. You got to have a whole bunch of money. Your credit score got to be all high. You got to do this. You got to fix property. Really, that was the main thing to me. When they was like, because I'm not that handy, just to be full disclosure. Justin real handy. He like fixing on stuff and tinkering and stuff. I'm not that handy. I like big problems, big, stuff like that. I don't like the tedious, like, oh, let me make this perfect. That's not me. And I know that's not me. And once you understand who you are, you can understand how you want to play this game called real estate, because there's room for everybody. But when I saw that, oh man, they ain't got to fix up houses. What? I can get in real estate and I ain't got to fix up houses. Is that what you're telling me? Because I don't know nothing about fixing up houses. I know something now, but when I got in, I knew nothing about fixing on property. What was the thing that kind of stopped you in the beginning, Justin, when you first was thinking about getting into real estate? Like, man, I don't know. I don't think I want to mess with that because of this.
Good question. I thought I had to be in position.
What you mean?
So I would say, like you say, I thought I needed money, needed credit. And so I'm like, okay, once I get my credit together, I can see myself tackling this game and stuff. I had no idea that I could use my sales skills to acquire real estate with no money and no credit and really nothing. So, I remember for about 3-4 years, you were kind of like irritate me with, yeah, Justin, you want to get paid to take a house? And I'm like, Chris, stop telling me that, man. It's too many times you told me that. And I'm like, there's no way you can get paid to take a house. And you're right, you get paid to take a house.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. When you understand how the deal is structured. See, people think I got to have a lot of money. Yeah, you can have money, but I've seen people lose money in real estate. And I'm talking about large amounts. Like, dang, you was better off not having the money. When you understand the game, how to leverage, how to solve problems. There's people that are in pre-foreclosure that got an auction this week. They need your help. What are they going to do? Can they put it on the market and list it with an agent? Maybe, but many times they still go to foreclosure. I've seen it happen while listed. Sometimes the agent don't even know the property's in foreclosure. And I'm like, hey, this house is going up for auction like 5 days, right? Oh, really? Yeah, and they got on the MLS for 317 days or whatever days it is. I'm like, no, y'all need to do something and solve the problem. And that's where we come in with skill set, with value to bring to the marketplace. How can we help these people get out of this situation? Some of my best deals were properties where everybody else ran away like, oh, it ain't nothing there. I got to get it for $2. It's a $200,000 house. And if I don't get it for $20,000, I don't want it. That's a play, yes, but that's not the only play. Creative real estate is the play. That's what I think. So I had a guy that does my moving and stuff. Like they move some of the furniture and stuff from different houses when we're moving in or out or whatever, right? And he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to get into real estate. I'm waiting. I'm saving up my money. I'm like, saving up your money? You could have got a real estate a long time ago. You have a moving service. You're literally in the face of people that are saying, take these things out of my house and leave that other junk there And that should be a red flag. Why would somebody say, move all this stuff out and leave the rest in the house? Maybe they're going to let the bank take the house. And I've seen them do this even before I got into real estate, because I was in the estate sale space where people were basically having estate sales. Like, oh, yeah, we got to sell all the stuff out the house. And myself not knowing, and I could have got houses way back then. I'm talking about 2011, 2012, 2013. While I was doing estate sales and auctions for people, 25, 35, 45, sold, sell it to the highest bidder. These people had houses they were letting go to the bank, or houses they were just letting go, walking away from all the time. And all I had to do was know what to do. That is what we have to do. Understand that, hey, you can get into this game when you understand how the game is played. So talk to sellers. I don't want to say sellers. Talk to people who own real estate. Talk to people who have problems with real estate and see if you can help them out. So, Justin, when you're talking to these people or different leads and things like that, I mean, what are you really offering them? Are you giving them a price up front, or what are you really kind of asking somebody brand new to say, hey, Justin, I need to sell Big Mama house?
Yeah, so, first I'm having a conversation with them, price, timeline, motivation, and condition. Going through those, asking them questions, seeing where they at, see what their goals are, and then basically just the closer is. So you saying if I can do this, and this, you ready to move forward? Yes. Well, let me. You said if you get 10 grand, she only owed 20, and you can get 10 grand, you ready to go? Yes. Okay, I'm sending over the paperwork right now.
That's right. That's it. It ain't even no rocket science. We're not tricking nobody. They told me I need to sell my house before the end of April. I said, okay, if we can get the house and buy the house and close before the end of April, you ready to move forward today? Yes. We can't wait to get from under this property. Sign here and here. Then we just go through paperwork. Real estate breathes through paperwork. That's it. Not the paper, not like this paper money. I'm talking about paper work, black ink on white paper. That's all real estate transfers through. Some person has to sign some paper to get that property over to you. So why are we making it so difficult? Why do you think people make it difficult, Justin?
It could be kind of confusing for a regular person who don't do this every day, especially because most people are going to buy one, maybe two houses in their lifetime. So it can be confusing. I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like a deal I'm dealing with right now, where the girl literally, father passed away. She got, tenants that's not paying and everything. She like, look, Justin, I don't know nothing about this, but, if you can fix this situation, let's do it. You can have the house. So, it'd be that simple. People just don't, it's the paperwork, affidavits and stuff, airships, documents, purchase agreements. I remember reading my first purchase agreement for my agent, and that stuff was confusing. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the clauses, all of that stuff. So it can be confusing. Some of the more creative stuff I'm going into now and learning about, unwinding other people's deals who've done creative deals where they, for example, sold deals back to the bank and said that if it appraises over, X amount of dollars that they get some kickback, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, you can put clauses in contracts to make stuff like that work. So this stuff I'm reading about. It get deep though. Cross collateralization, stuff like that. Most people don't know what a HELOC is. I mean, you got all these different programs, mortgages, reverse mortgages. I mean, a lot of that stuff is financial, insurance, estate planning. That's why people hire lawyers. They call lawyers and agents because they feel like they are the expert in these different spaces.
I got to ask you a trick question now, Justin. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are the agents and the attorneys the experts in this business?
No, they don't know what they're doing.
What make you say that, though? They're supposed to be the one that everybody go to get their problem solved.
I remember this girl, we had first got into the real estate game, and I trusted the attorney to know what they were doing. And they let the house go to foreclosure. And the girl was smart enough we went on the contract before we went to the foreclosure. We thought that the agent was going to stop the foreclosure. Not the agent, the lawyer let it go to foreclosure. And then the girl was smart enough to send someone who had like 20 grand to the auction to buy her mom's house that was being lost in the foreclosure, and then they brought it back to me cheaper than what we had an original contract for.
Wow. So it sounds like you're telling me that the buck stops with you. No matter who you try to get an agent and all these other people you think gonna save the day, it's up to you to decide to say, hey, I'm gonna learn at least enough to not mess myself up.
100%.
You cannot blame somebody else for your deal.
100%.
Because it seems like a lot of people want to pass the buck and say, oh, my agent gonna take care of it. I'm looking like, your agent don't know what the hell going on. I know more than your agent. I mean, I don't want to talk bad about them, but they're going to get you in trouble. I'm trying to help you. And so that's just something that most people need to take the time to understand. Who are we talking to? Are we talking to somebody that's a go-getter that's going to solve the problem? Or we just got somebody, I hired them because my cousin referred them or some old silly stuff.
Right.
You get referred to somebody, and they don't even have to be referred. Be like, oh, it was my cousin. They got their license. Your cousins with their license going to make you lose your house.
I just followed up on a deal where, you know, a girl had brought me, she was a former client of mine, and she had brought me a house. The guy, I believe, from her deceased mother, he was married to her. So he had they had a situation where he might be an alcoholic or something like that. And she basically told me that she would rather see him lose the house and get nothing than for him to get anything. And I'm like, well, I think he has, you know, first rights to the property over, you know, the daughter. And she didn't like that. And I told her I could put together a situation where, you know, she gets paid and he gets paid and everything. And, you know, basically she didn't like the fact of, you know, she just didn't know enough. Tried to do a quick claim deed with the man, and the house ended up still going to foreclosure. So, ha 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 to her.
Silly stuff.
And guess how much they bought her house for?
$20.
Well, I had it under contract for 30 grand.
Right. 8.
And they actually bought it for 20 grand. They bought it for 15. They bought it for 15, $5,000 less than the loan balance.
Oh wow! How did they get it? Well, they did a short sale or something. How did they get less? Oh, because it went to auction.
The auction, yeah.
They let it go for lower than what they owed. Well, I guess that makes sense for the bank. I didn't think about it that way when you're talking about these houses going to foreclosure. Because sometimes
it did just go through that storm. It was hit by that storm too, so I don't know if that made a difference.
They don't want to deal with it.
Yeah,
they want it off the books. Yeah, because a lot of times these banks or lenders will put in a reserve bid. And I see them come up on auction.com all the time. They're like, oh, we got to get $83,516 or we don't sell it. So they'll run it through the auction multiple times. Like it won't sell the first time. They'll retain the property or we'll say revert it to beneficiary. So the bank will have it. And then they'll put it back out as an auction again. And this is a house that I was dealing with down on the south side that have been through the auction about 4 times. And now they got it on regular MLS and that mug still won't sell. So when a bank take a house back, that's a problem because they are working hard to get that thing off the books. It's still non-performing. It's still sitting up on the books as just an asset until they get rid of it, a non-performing asset. So that's a whole nother game too. A lot of people don't realize the note game. You can buy these notes, these promissory notes that are non-performing or people who haven't paid in X number of months. You know, the banks trade performing notes. So say you buy a house today. We close today, right? Well, we want to close today because it's Sunday. Let's say we close tomorrow, the 6th of April. About a month or 2 later, you get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you got a new lender. Like, who is this? I closed with these people. That's called the originator. They originated the loan, and then they sold it to somebody else to hold it for the long duration of 30 years. So it happens all the time, and we just don't understand how the game is played. It's all smoke and mirrors, I think. The bank be winning. Well, I guess they're gonna win no matter what happens because they fronted the money. They made it. They got all that interest money. Who do you think is winning the most in real estate, Justin? Like
the lenders.
You think the lenders win the most?
It's not even close.
What about the contractors that's running away with $50,000 of your money and didn't do nothing? They didn't do nothing either?
Nah, the banks are winning.
What about wholesalers? All they got is paperwork, black ink on white paper, and they getting checks.
The banks.
Still the banks. What about the closing, the title company? Because they doing all the transaction. No transaction goes through without them. Couldn't they be winning?
The banks are the ones who win no matter what.
No matter what, whether they win, lose, or draw, the bank won. How can the bank lose? I guess that's a better question.
They can't lose.
Well, there's a way for them to lose, but they protect themselves against it.
Yeah, they have, even in a closing, they have title insurance.
That's to protect the title, correct?
But I mean, they have warranty. You have there's a warranty. If you pay less than like 3% on a property or something like that, that you have to get a
PMI.
Yeah, you have to get another insurance and stuff that protects them from you foreclosing too early.
PMI, private mortgage insurance.
Okay.
You put down a small amount, they want to put that PMI on your loan, and you're like, why am I paying an extra $88 a month? They be adding up. That's a lot of money. Yeah. You pay that every year for the last 8 years. Count that math. The numbers don't lie. So they got hazard insurance if that's tornado, like you just said, hits the property, or a fire, or a flood, or some type of natural disaster. They make you get insurance on it. If you don't, they will place insurance on your property. So they protect themselves against that, the insurance. So yeah, title insurance to protect the title transfer, to make sure that's clean and unencumbered title, so nobody comes back later and make a claim to that property that was transferred through the title company. The hazard insurance, the title insurance, and they also, that's why they have PITI. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, because taxes is another one where they could lose the property. Taxes can be the first lien. They don't want that to happen. So they force you pretty much. I don't want to say they force you, but basically you're kind of like forced to have taxes escrowed. What's escrowed? It's a separate account already at the bank where they're going to charge you or charge your insurance or charge you a yearly amount divided by 12 and spread out over a 12-month period to make sure it's covered. And a lot of times people don't realize there's money left over in that. When I take over these properties subject to the existing financing, sometimes I get a check back from taxes or insurance escrow, more so the insurance. It's not normally the taxes, more so the insurance. Because when we switch insurance companies, it's going to be a little bit less than what they did. And I was going to tell you about that too, Justin. I had some weird stuff happen with my insurance. They canceled like 4 of my policies. I was like, how y'all cancel the policy? And we went through and digged. This is because they switched systems or something. I don't know. Something internal. And I'm like, I've had these houses for years. There's no reason for you to be talking about canceling a policy when we're paying what I just talked about, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance every month. So it really was no reason for them to go through all that. But they cleaned it all up. I had to pay like $300 or something, and they're going to reimburse me or something. I don't know, some silly stuff. But the whole thing is you got to stay on top of this stuff. These are still people. These are still institutions. They make mistakes. They make errors. Check it. And what I said earlier, the buck stops with you. So we got a little presentation for you here. Pinky. Let's see if I can add it to the stage. Coming to the stage. We're talking about some rent to own strategies. How would you define rent to own, Justin?
How would I define rent to own?
Yeah.
I would define, there's 2 types of rent to own. There's our rent to own, when someone is literally renting until with the option to purchase. And then you have other people rent to own where they are actually making payments towards the principal balance that's agreed upon. So I do think that the term is used interchangeably, and I don't know if that's necessarily the right way that they're using it or the right way that we're using it, but the way I see it is rent to own is renting with the option to purchase.
Okay, that's a good definition. What if I told you that there is no real rent to own thing? It's all internal, whatever your company comes up with.
Right. I can agree with you.
That's exactly what it is. We like to do it as a lease option, a lease with an option to buy, but I'm going to break that down here in this little presentation brought to you by the Future Cash Flow Club. Let's see what we got here. So our overview, we're going to talk about some of the key strategies, like you just talked about, the lease option, lease purchase, etc., deal structures, and then the one that everybody loves the most, how do you profit? Let's see here. Rent to own can go over a lot of people's heads. Exactly. Because it's made up. That's the thing about it. It's all made up. Matter of fact, most of the stuff I talk about in real estate, somebody made this stuff up. Really, everything in your life is made up. Somebody made it up. If you want to be raw real with it. Money made up, cash flow made up, taxes made up. You know, taxes made up. They're going to tax you for something. Insurance made up. They made up all this stuff. But you have to understand how the game is played and see how it goes. So you're right there, Milo, Skilo. All right, so that's what we got for that. What is rent to own? Control property without owning. So, you know, I don't necessarily like to get in on a property, buying it on a per se rent to own. I like to buy the property and get the deed and actually become the owner of the property. And my exit strategy is typically going to be rent to own. Why would I want to do it that way, Justin? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. My bad.
You said what, Chris?
I was asking, why would I want to do it that way, where I would buy a house, get the deed, and exit on a rent to own versus me buying it on a rent to own?
Why would I buy a deal and exit on a rent to own rather than? Say it again.
Yeah, I'm asking, why is it a better strategy to buy a house and get the deed versus buying it so-called rent to own?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's better to be in control of the property and control of the deed. That way you can have options as far as how you would like to exit.
For sure. Because when you're doing what we call rent to own, you're basically a tenant. You might have tenant rights. You may be, the way we structure it, residential lease, standard residential lease, and an option addendum, an option fee addendum. You put so much down toward the property, and that's a non-refundable option consideration. We don't put the word refundable or anything like that on our paperwork because it keeps us clean. So we know that none of that money goes back to them. In the event that they decide to buy a house, we will give them a credit, a line item on a settlement statement for an X number of dollars toward their purchase. That's kind of how we structured it. So a rent to own can create multiple income streams. And we're going to get into that in a second. So 3 ways you get paid. You know, that upfront option fee that I was just talking about, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 upfront down. That's your first payday. Then you got the monthly cash flow each and every month. You got it for $1,000 a month. Somebody renting it from you for $1,800 a month. You're making $1,800 a month passive cash flow on a house you probably don't have anything in if you do it the way I teach it. And then the back end profit, in the event that somebody decides to cash you out, go get their own loan and buy you out of your position. The difference between what you owed on a property versus what they owe you is going to be pure profito, money in your box, in your pay. We're going to call that money that goes in the hip pocket national bank. One of my favorite places. So the lease option, that's the one we like to do. The lease with the option to buy. The tenant has an option to buy. They can decide to buy or they can decide not to. I'm getting 2 of my houses back, supposed to be this weekend, but I don't even know if they moved out or what. One over here in Overland and another one down in South County, Oakville. They're both supposed to be out this weekend. I ain't heard. Well, I heard from one. She said she'll be out today, but I didn't hear back from the guy. He said he'll be out this weekend. He told me that earlier this week. So I'm supposed to be getting 2 houses back. Both of those were tenant buyers. They are moving out. I didn't put them out, just to be clear. I didn't. Well, we're not talking about the one in South County, but the one over here in Overland, I didn't put them out. They decided to leave at the expiration time of their lease. They were there for 3 years. April 4th, yesterday, was 3 years. Their lease term expired. Now, they could have stayed and keep paying. I didn't kick them out, and I don't want to kick them out because I got to start all over again, which can be a good or bad thing depending on what you're doing. This house I live in right here, I had a tenant buyer in. He was there for 18 months. He stopped paying. We got him up out of here. I said, oh, wow, that's a nice house. I'll just move in it. So I moved into the property. So all of that is an option. So if the tenant decides to move out, you get to keep the non-refundable option fee. You were keeping that anyway. A lot of people like to ask that, what you do with that money you got up front? Does that go in a bank? Do they got to go in escrow? No. That goes in the hip pocket, National Bank. That's your first money, depending on how you got into your deal. And the lease option gives a flexible exit for all parties. If they decide to buy it and go get a loan and cash you out, your exit is you sold the house, probably at full retail or more than retail. That's one of the beauties about creative real estate and understanding rent to own. When we exit these deals, we're getting probably retail or more, because a property with financing attached or a property that's structured creatively is more valuable than a regular old deal. And I've done it multiple times. So that's what we got on the lease option. Here's an example. The seller is going to pay $1,200 a month. The buyer is going to have the $1,600 a month. They got a $400 a month cash flow. Now, some people will look at that and say, well, you got $400 a month cash flow, or even just take this to a traditional rental. Let's just say this was a traditional rental house where I got to pay a $1,200 mortgage and I got a tenant and they're paying me $1,600 a month. Am I really cash flowing $400 a month? On a traditional rental I'm talking about. What do you think about that, Justin? Am I really cash flowing $400 a month on a traditional rental in the same example?
Absolutely not, because at the end of the day, you are, it's one of those things to where, like, as soon as the toilet break, that's if 4, 8, 12. I'm saying made $1,200 in 3 months, but in the first 90 days, they call you and tell you the toilet broke and you got to pay for it.
Yep.
It's gonna be $1,000.
There you go. Whatever breaks, the furnace, the water heater. I put water heaters in the house. That ain't no fun. Just anything that deals with that house in a traditional rental sense, keeping in mind, this is not it'd be a good deal for somebody, but it's not a good deal for me. This is why I don't do traditional rentals, by the way. They say, would you just rent it? Why would I want to rent a house out when I could do a lease option? Why is there a difference? Because we are passing on 100% of the responsibility of the maintenance and repairs onto the tenant buyer. We're going to pass it on. So that $400 a month in a creative lease option example is truly passive, because if something breaks, I'm not fixing it. And I don't have to pay a property manager. I don't have to fix property. I don't have to deal with the things that traditional landlords have to deal with, because I'm basically structured a deal and I get my payment every month and I don't fix stuff. Now, let's just say the water heater go out and it's $2,000 and my person living in there can't pay for it. What are you going to do in that case, Justin?
I would evict them.
I'll kick them out. So that water heater went out. They gave you some money up front. I'm gonna give you an example to help you out with this one, Justin. They put $12,000 down. I know that's your favorite number. They put $12,000 down and moved into your house that you got no money in. So you might be $11,000 ahead right off the rip because you only paid $1,000 in closing costs. And I'm making this up, by the way. And this is probably a good figure for you. So you're $11,000 ahead. They paying you $1,600 a month. Your underlying debt is $1,200 a month. You cash flowing that $400 on a lease option, and a water heater go out, and they tell you I ain't got the money to fix it. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna tell them to call the plumber.
Damn! What if they need some hot water?
Or they have lease option? It ain't my responsibility. It's their house, not mine.
100%.
I'm the bank.
Would you help them out though?
No.
In no way, shape, or form.
It just depends on how big the expense or something like that.
$2,000.
I probably would negotiate. Ask them how much could they put towards, this type of repair, and they might come with $1,600. I come with $400. Bam, we got a deal.
But will you get your $400 back, or is it just you're gonna give them the $400 to get it done?
I put they $400 in those monthly payments that they got, $50 a month.
Now you're cooking. That's creative real estate. And I've had to do that before, by the way. Something go out in a property and they can't afford it, I would fix it, but they got to pay me back. And it's only on stuff where they have to. They got to ask for this, by the way. This ain't something I'm offering anybody, just to be very clear. Now, if somebody's in my house and they got something going on where something major break and they can't fix it, I'm going to go ahead and help them out. Because especially if they paying on time and they, I don't want them to suffer, I guess is what I should say. Especially when it's, they can't afford it. And they truly mean they can't afford it and they've been paying on time or whatever. I'll help them get it squared away. Whether I refer them to somebody that's going to get it done a little less than whatever quote they got. Because, stuff on the retail market costs more than what we get as so-called real estate investors. So I would help them out in some type of way. If they ask for my help, that is. And it wouldn't be, a big deal. Because it's just, I'd rather have good people to stay in these properties long term and pay me, because I understand this is cash flow, especially in that example I just gave. I'm 11,000 ahead. I'm not saying that I would have to do it. The correct answer is no, I don't need to do anything. 100% of the responsibility of maintenance and repairs is passed on to the intended buyer. 100%. But if they ask and if they need it, I'm probably going to step in and help them out. I hope you all would do the same, just to be a good person. But legally, we don't have to fix nothing. All right, what else we got here? So a lease option is different than a lease purchase. When you hear the terms lease purchase, the buyer is obligated to buy, meaning they gotta buy. It's higher risk and it's cost. You got to use it cautiously if you use it at all. We like the lease option. I don't like the lease purchase that forces somebody to buy it. I'd rather for them to have an option, because if they decide, you know what, I'm gonna move out, I just get the house back and start all over again, like I did the house I'm living in and the house I'm getting back here in the next 48 hours or whatever. And the house I just got back. I just got a house back this weekend. Matter of fact, I put some tenant buyers in a property in January. They moved in, and the boyfriend and the girlfriend broke up, and they ended up saying, you know what, I can't afford it. And if you can't afford it, they moved out. I didn't put them out. They basically abandoned the house. They left the house. So what do? I go take possession of the house again and put it back out on a rent to own and get a non-refundable from the next person. That's the beauty of real estate. Marketing. We have to market. If they don't know you, they can't flow you. So the buyer is obligated to buy and a lease purchase, and I'm not a fan of it, but some people like to use those in certain situations. I like the lease with an option to buy a little bit better. Owner financing, seller financing. The seller acts as the bank. You got more flexible terms because there's no underlying debt. You can make payments whatever iteration you want, every month, every 45 days, every 60 days, every 3 months. You can do interest or no interest at all. All of that is flexible when it talks about owner financing. Whatever you can get the seller of the property to agree with you on, that's the deal. We can do no money down. That same house that I'm getting back in Oakville, I bought that house, owner financing, no money down, 0% interest. That's like slam dunk deal. And I didn't have to start making payments for the first 2 months. I think I bought it in like May or something of 2019, and then have to start making payments to June of 2019. And I already had a tenant buyer installed in about a week. I took the house as is, put in a tenant buyer. She gave me $8,000 down. She lived there for about a year and a half. She moved out, said she wanted to go out back to the country. And I put in a new tenant buyer, and that's who's in that house right now. That's about to get the house back to me. So I'm going to get this house back in Oakville, South St. Louis County, that I'm going to be putting in my third tenant buyer on the same house I bought back in 2019 for no money down, 0% interest. Can you make this stuff up at all? Can you make it up? You can't make it up. That's the beauty of creative real estate. So you get long-term wealth. I've owned that house since 2019. What's this, 2026? And that house has been a cash cow. I mean, this has its ups and downs, but overall, it's made money. Hand over fist. Money in, money out. Cash flow. That's the game we play. But the long term is what I like to play, the long-term game. Loan money. What about the contract for deed? The seller will keep the title. The buyer will pay over time. And you have more control if you're the owner of the property, because the deed won't transfer until all of the payments are made. It's kind of like when you buy a vehicle and it's got that stamp on the bottom on your title of the car. You don't really own it until you own it. Same thing with the contract for deed. You don't own it until you own it. So this is a strategy you could use with somebody that's putting large amounts down, like 20% down, 30% down. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with somebody today that said they had a big chunk of money down. They said they did, so I don't know if they really do. But they said they did. And when they do, we going to make it do what it do. As a matter of fact, I think I got his call over here right now. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share if you care. I'm gonna see if I can pull up this call from this guy. Because he made it sound like he got a lot of money to put up. And I'm like, he's talking about fixing on cars. And I'm like, no, don't fix no car. Give me that money. Get you in the house. It'd be amazing me how people be renting an apartment and putting a lot of money in cars. But, you know, everybody can do what they want to do. It's their money. Your job is to find a way to get that money over to you for a good product or a good service, that is. We're not getting it for free. We're getting it for adding value to the marketplace. So let me see if I got this guy's number on here. Is this him? Yeah, let me see if I can get this call up. Hold on. Let me download this. Hold on. Download MP3. Okay, let me switch this here right quick. Let's switch it up. I'm gonna let you hear this call. You're gonna say, no, they ain't say that. Yeah, he did. Let's see.
Hey, this is Chris. You were calling in regards to one of our rent-to-own homes.
Yeah, my fiance is looking online right now. I seen the one down here by off Gravois in Hampton. I think it's maybe Stoll Street.
Stoley, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might be Stole. I might have been saying it wrong all along.
I could be saying it wrong too. I'm actually working over in the area. Like
Oh yeah, it's a cute little house. It's a 2-bedroom. It's a full walkout basement. Is that gonna be big enough for what you guys are looking for?
yeah, it's just me and my fiance and 2 cats, and like I'm the repair manager for Cox Roofing, and she's actually the office manager at Cox Roofing.
Oh wow. Well, you've been busy this summer, I guess, or from this.
Oh man, I'm working today.
tornado.
I was actually over there working. Yeah, I work 7 days a week normally, but I choose to, you know.
This call was early.
Yeah, keep you out of
I
trouble.
like my
know.
toys, man. You know what I mean? I got my truck. You know what I mean? I could just bought a Jeep, lifted it. Like I like my toys.
Cool. So you are looking for a rent-to-own home, is that correct?
I mean, we're looking like
So did you notice that? I gotta qualify them before I get too deep in the weeds. You are looking for a rent to own, correct?
never bought a house. I'm paying like $1,100 a month rent now for an apartment right here on Gravois.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like my mirror. We don't have no parking except right on Gravois. My mirror has been hit 3 times, twice in the same day.
Wow.
I was actually in the truck once when it got hit, and I had to chase them down like 12 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got my work truck. I got all my ladders, all my tools. Like,
Well, this might be a better place for you because it has a garage and a big
Yeah,
open
but I
basement,
gotta have a
and
garage.
you got parking space.
But
So
like I
for
said, I've
our
never
rent to
bought a
own
house.
program, yeah, I'll help you out. So for our rent to own program, it's a down payment is required to move into any of our homes. 100% of that down payment would go towards the purchase price of the home. You then have a monthly payment that you would make for a period of time. But during that time, if you decide to buy the house, you would have to get your own loan or financing because what we do is a lease option. Buying it is optional, but the down payment is required. What do you think you can come up with to put towards a down payment?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you till tomorrow because I just put my Jeep, or I put my truck in the shop, and I know that's costing me $3,100, and then I'm putting my Jeep in the shop, and you know, I figure I'm gonna drop $6,000, but man, when something's wrong, if I hear it, I want them tip top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, just ballpark figure, if you did find a house you liked, what do you think you could raise to put towards a down payment?
I mean, right now, I mean, I like maybe 5, but I could probably get 10, maybe a little more.
Okay, so 5 or 10,000 down. So,
Yeah.
so the next
And
step is
possibly more than
basically
that.
just
You know what I'm saying? I haven't been saving, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I buy.
And so
like
the
I
thing
said,
is too, the more you put down, the lower your monthly payments could possibly be, as well as better terms. So the next step is basically if you would like to view the property, you can see it, and then once you like it, or if you want to now, you can apply for it. It's a simple 2-page application. Once you fill that out, you get back some options to pick out which option you want as far as the down payment and monthly payment. And
I
once you
didn't
pick that
understand
out,
what the rent to own. Like you said, you could rent it and then an option to buy.
that's correct. You have
I
an
thought the
option
rent to
to
own was
decide to either buy.
buying.
No, it's not. It's a rent to own. We do a lease option. You can buy it if you decide to, but we give you time to get whatever's broken fixed if there is something broken, or if you have to get a loan, or you can use private financing. Some people just buy houses
I would
cash.
fix
So
everything
every case
myself.
is yeah. So basically, we just go from there. If it's a house that works for what you're looking for, you can be in there in about 2 to 3 days. Don't take long at all. How soon are you looking to get into a place?
I mean, that's quick. I wasn't even thinking that quick, but
Oh yeah, we don't mess around. So that's why I just like to run it down for you, and all this information is on the website.
I would like to give where I rent now. I would like to give them at least a little notice.
Yeah, that's fine. That's not a
been
problem.
pretty good to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Usually they want at least 30 days or something like that. But
Yeah.
like I say, every case is different, so I don't assume anything. I just ask, what do you need, and see if we can make a good fit.
And I had like a 750 credit score, but for Christmas I took out these loans and it dropped it. And I've got them all paid off but one, but it ain't really went up that quick. It goes down quick. It don't go upside. I think it's like 680 or something right now.
What if I told you we don't even run your credit? We don't care what the credit score is. It has nothing to do with our program. Yep. That's the reason for our program. It gives you time to get your credit score back up to where you want it. Then you go get a loan with a low payment, and then you buy the house like that. So you basically have a place to live that you can buy later. You're basically renting it now and buying it later whenever you
I wonder how much. I mean, man, I wouldn't. I'd have to come up with enough. I wouldn't want to pay more than like $1,500 a month rent, maybe $1,800. You know what I mean? That'd be.
Yeah, we can work all that out. That's not a problem. You just got to make sure the house works for what you need, and work the deal from there. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Any other questions or anything from me for now?
No, I could call you tomorrow evening as soon as I talk to
Meineke
and figure out, because like I say, he's got my truck now and it was $2,100, but I added some more stuff to it.
Yeah, Meineke.
I'm real good with the manager. I know the manager. He knocked off $600, and my buddy actually owns a shop in Farmington, so I called him. I'm like, man, does this price sound right? And he looked it up and stuff. He's like, man, that's actually pretty good. Because like the heater core is like a 9-hour job just in labor. So, but
definitely, I understand. I had about 12 rental cars at one time, and they all had stuff.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So yeah, just let me know. You can text this number back or call. Probably text is easier. Just let me know when you want to see that property or any other properties on that list if it makes sense, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna have to look at the list further. Like we like this place. I kind of like living on the south side. I'm from Poplar Bluff, so I'm new. I've only lived up here like maybe 2 years, but I love the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll work it out for you. We'll make it real easy for you.
Our office is like in Brentwood.
So there you go. That guy, that's the kind of tenant buyer I'm looking for. He offering to fix something, even though the house doesn't need anything to fix. He's got 5,000 to 10,000 or more, and he even told me he's willing to pay up to $1,500. All he got to do is like the house. He'll be in that bad boy as soon as he's ready. If you like that house, you can be in that mud this week. Even though he's talking about waiting to give his apartments a notice. Them apartment people ain't worried about no notice. Them people, this is springtime. This is busy season. It's time to go ahead and get that bread. So hopefully that little rent to own call right there could help someone out that's listening. And it should help you with your screening. So I'm a screening to make sure to know what can you put down, what's your timeline to move, and what do you think about this house? And if all those things line up, we install them. I'm doing one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. He already put some money down this weekend. He's going to finish it up tomorrow morning. He's moving into the other house I have on the south side. He's putting $10,000 down and paying, I think, $1,600 a month, something like that, on a different house. So that's the game of real estate that we play, ladies and gentlemen. How did that deal turn out? There was a call today. I just talked to that person today. See, I'm kind of live and right in your face. Boom. So we don't know what's going to happen. He's going to call back tomorrow, he say, or whatever he does. But I marked him down as a person that got at least 10 grand. You got 10K, I got a house for you. Because I'm usually never going to be in them that deep. I might be in it 1 or 2 grand, if that much. Sometimes I'm in a little more. But if you got 10K or more, I ain't going to be in it for 10K. So whatever I can get over whatever I'm in it, that's the first profit center. Coming back to what I had on the slideshow here on this point. My upfront option fee, first thing. That's my first thing. Then the monthly cash flow. And then last but not least, the back end profit if he decides to buy the house. I get another big check. So that's how that deal is turning out as of right now. So let me finish up the last of these slides. We were on here, contract for deed, rent credits. Rent credits. Do I give rent credits? No. I know some people like to structure their deals like this. A portion of the rent is applied to the purchase. And it may be a marketing advantage that, hey, yeah, you can rent it and it's going towards your credit. But I don't want to make it look like it's a mortgage. I'm not doing any type of bank financing per se when I exit these properties. So that's why I don't do any rent credits. Plus, it can make an accounting nightmare, to be honest. The day we close, that balance, say that's a $200,000 house and they put $20,000 down. They owe $180. The day we close with the real estate attorney for their lease option, when they owe me $180, 2 years, 3 years, whatever years from now, they still owe me $180. Even if the house goes up in value over that time, they still owe me $180 to buy me out. And if they don't buy me out, I get the house back. Matter of fact, that same house in Oakville, it went up in value since I've owned it since 2019. I bought that house for $139,000. Let me see what that house is worth today. I bought that house for $139,000 back in 2019, and today that house is worth about $240. About $240. And that's $100,000 over. That's the beauty of real estate, ladies and gentlemen. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate, then wait. Master lease option, control without ownership. This is what most people do when they do call that arbitrage, when they want to rent a property and sublease it to somebody else. They like to do that on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, and the others. They like to rent a property from somebody and sublease it to somebody else. You can do that. That's a strategy. It's just not the strategy that I do. I want ownership because I want the tax benefit of owning real estate, the 27.5-year depreciation of owning real estate. I like all of the other benefits of owning the property versus renting it and then subleasing it. It's an option, and sometimes it may be the best option. You may not want to own some properties, especially if you structure it right. In the event you do a deal like this, I would structure where, hey, any repairs over $500, they can pay it. The person I'm leasing it for, or $1,000, whatever. Any kind of major repairs, I don't want to be responsible for. Small stuff like fixing a leaky faucet or, something happened, $200, whatever, we can handle that. If I'm going to be on a master lease option, meaning I'm leasing it from somebody else with the right to sublease, I want to make sure anything over $500 or anything over $1,000, they're responsible. So like the water heater, the furnace, the roof, foundation, plumbing, major repairs, anything major, I want them to pay her, especially if I'm going to be leasing. That's the only, I guess, downside of when you actually own it because it comes back to you. But it depends on your exit strategy. Hope that helps you out. Ownership. That's what we're talking about. That's right. I like ownership. I own nothing and control everything. That's the game we play, my man. Yes, yes. All right. And then you got the master lease example. A lot of people like to lease it and do what we call a sandwich lease option. We get a property, we're going to lease it from you, and we're going to agree to pay you $1,500 a month. We're going to lease it, right? But we got the right to sublease, and we're going to find somebody else who's going to lease it from us for $2,500 a month. We're going to make $1,000 a month passive cash flow, or cash flow. It may not be passive depending on what your strategy is, but at least $1,000 a month cash flow. Those are the kind of deals I'm looking for. And I'm talking about on a single family house. I ain't talking about apartments or commercial property, because you can do these numbers pretty easy on commercial property. But I'm talking about a regular old 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, a regular house. You can cash flow to make $1,000 or more. I got a house right now that's cash flowing $2,000 a month. Rent for $4,200, and the payment is $1,834. So I don't even know what's the cash flow on that. Let me check on the calculator. Calculator, where you at? So if we go to the calculator and they're paying me $4,250 a month minus $1,834, it's cash flowing $2,416. Is that crazy work or what? I got a house like that right now, single family house, 4-bedroom house, cash flowing $2,416, and they pay all utilities. We don't pay no utilities at that property, and they're responsible for maintenance and repairs, anything under $1,000. Same thing I just told you what I would do if I was on this master lease. I basically put them on the same thing. They don't have an option to buy, but they do say they want to buy the house. So when their 6-month lease is up, they want to try to buy that house, which would be for a premium as well on a house that I bought for $4,900. Or that's what I got into that deal. I don't have anything in that deal now because I already got money. So that particular deal, I bought it. It was closing costs. Plus I gave the seller, what did I give them? $3,500. I think I gave the seller $3,500 plus closing costs, something like that. So it was like $4,900 when the smoke cleared. $4,932, something to that effect, to buy the house. So that's when I got into the deal. I found somebody who wanted to rent the property. I put it out on rent to own, but they wanted to rent it on an insurance claim. Insurance said they'll pay the $4,250 a month. So I said, sold to the highest bidder. And they took the house as is. I didn't have to furnish it. I didn't have to fix anything. I didn't have to do anything but sign some papers and collect some money. And they already been there, coming up on the 3rd month. They already been there 1 month. They just made their first payment, and they're making their payment on this property on time every month on the 28th. Due on the 28th, late on the 1st. So that particular property is cash flowing $2,400 on a single family home. I'm working something with a bank right now where we're going to put the arrears, because this house was back about 5 months when I got it. 5 months in arrears, which was about $17,000, which I'm not paying there, by the way. I structured something with a bank, and they put us on a 3-month payment plan, a 3-month trial period. So we got to make 3 monthly payments of $1,834. And once those 3 monthly payments are done, they're going to take those arrears of $17,000 or whatever it is, put it on the back of the loan. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but we do this all the time. We don't pay arrears on properties. We put them on the back of the loan as a silent second. They call it a partial claim. Partial claim. That's what they call that. We do it on deals all the time, especially these ones in pre-foreclosure. We put those arrears on the back of the loan, so we're not coming out of pocket to pay that. We get the house up and monetized and stabilized and cash flowing, and we just collect the checks and make the deal work. These are skills that you can learn, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody can do this stuff. I ain't saying nothing on here that you can't do. So we start getting creative and start combining strategies. Creative structuring, stack the deals, increase the profits. That's what we're doing. Left, right, left, right, left, right, here. We got to get the money, man. So some of the common mistakes that I've seen out here: bad tenant screening. You're just going to put somebody in there like, oh, that's my cousin, he'll stay. You know what I say to that? No. You got to have some money to get into my house. Low option fees. One of the worst things you can do. Put somebody in, oh, I'm going to put them in for $1,500 down. No. $2,000 down. No. $3,000 down. Probably no. I want more money than that. I want some skin in the game, because if you don't act right, I get that money. Like the house I just told you I got back in South County, that dude put $6,000 down. He walked away from the house. That $6,000 get to get kept, clean up the property, restabilize it all over again, and put a new tenant buyer in. This is why we put the money in. This is why we get money up front before we put somebody in the house. We have to do it right. So bad tenant screening, putting in family members, etc. Not getting enough money down up front to put somebody in, because I got a house over here in Florissant right now. I could put somebody in, but they tell me, oh, I got $3,000. I'm like, man, I need at least $5,000. You know, that just make me feel better. I don't have to get anything for it because I don't have any money in the deal. But I just know if they don't do right, I got some money to a buffer. So let's just say somebody gets in and they decide to stop paying. You got to deal with the attorneys and get them kicked out. Who's going to pay that? That could cost you $2,500, $3,000. Just that right there. Not counting any damages or stuff that you got to do to fix the house as far as repairs. That's why I want some money and some skin in the game. You don't get the keys to the property without putting some money down each and every time, without thinking about it. I don't even have to think. If you got a little to no money, don't even call me talking about you want a house. You got to have that money. And then last but not least, poor contracts. The paperwork makes the paperwork. Where do you get the proper paperwork at? Anybody know? FutureCashFlowClub.com. We got the paperwork to make the paperwork for any type of deals that I'm talking about today. Talking about wholesaling, talking about subject to, talking about seller financing, talking about any type of these creative deal structures that we're doing. I have the paperwork, and it's not hard to do because it's simple. These are quality documents that are simple to fill out. Fill in the blank. Who's the buyer? Who's the seller? What's the price? What's the earnest money? What's the inspection period? What's the closing date? Come on, man. This ain't rocket science. I mean, it has the clauses and things that you need to protect you in the deal. Making the contract assignable. You can assign this contract to an end buyer if you want to. Or you can close on it yourself. Or you can get financing or whatever you want to do. I like options because you don't know which way you're going to go. You might get a property and think, like, so for instance, that property that somebody's moving into tomorrow or finishing up their closing on tomorrow on the south side. That dude that's finna give $10,000 down to move into that house. When I first got that house, I tried to do a rent to own tenant buyer on that house when I first got it. And this was a year ago. I can't believe it's been a year. This was March of 2025 when I got this house. And I stopped the auction on that house about 3 or 4 days before. Let's see, I stopped that auction on Saturday. The auction was on Wednesday. So what's that? 4 days. Let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 4 days before the auction. I stopped the auction on that house 4 days before the auction was coming up. And that house was on the MLS, multiple listing service, with an agent for over 180 something days. I got in contact with the agent. She got me in contact with the seller. We structured the deal to buy the house for what they owed on it. I did that. I got the arrears put on the back of the loan. I just made the final payment on the trial payment on that house. That was another $20,000 in arrears. You know, I'm not paying that. Why would I pay that? This is why I say you need to take the time to understand how the game is played. There are strategies for any problem in real estate. There are strategies, tactics, and techniques. But do you know the strategies, tactics, and techniques? I'm not even going to say I know them all. I'm still learning. I learned a lot. I've been doing real estate since 2018. Closed my first deal in August of 2018. First wholesale deal. Closed my first creative deal December of 2018. Still own that house today. You can do this too. So futurecashflowclub.com. Check it out. Okay, I think we got a couple more and we're off this thing. Yeah, let's see what else we got. Finding the deals. How do you find these deals? On the MLS. They can be on it. Multiple listing service. Go on there and see anybody that's been listed over 90 days, over 60 days, and depending on your market. If your market averages around 30 days and sold, 60 days and sold, if somebody's over that, you need to be reaching out to them. Hey, what's going on? Why isn't this property selling? Especially if you see it's owned by a mom and pop, Joe and Sandy Smith. If mom and pop own it, I want to buy the deal. Now, if you're talking about banks owning it and institutions and all of that, that's something different. I don't really mess with it. I like direct to seller. If there's an agent involved, great. We pay them a little something. But I just told you how we doing these deals. You can do it too. You got for sale by owners, FSBO. Why is somebody even listing it as a for sale by owner? Won't you put it on the market like a normal person? They're trying to save money or they don't have the money to pay the agent. There's plenty of people that are trying to sell houses. As a matter of fact, there's a lead in my phone right now that I'm supposed to have been talking to yesterday that I haven't talked to yet because I'm waiting for them to send me the number to call them. Somebody's referring a person to me. They want me to call this seller. They're basically upside down on a beautiful house over here in Florissant, 3-car garage, my kind of house. Big, beautiful house, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3-car garage house over here in Florissant, Missouri. I want that house, but I don't want that payment high. But we can structure a deal as long as the sellers are on board. But I got to have that conversation. They are willing to sell it for what they owe, and we just got to structure the deal. Their payment is kind of high, $3,600 a month. I don't want to take that payment, but I'm going to see if there's an option to get that payment reduced. I'm going to see if there's a way to structure a deal to help these people out. They had it on the market and could not sell it for whatever reason. Probably the price was too high, or probably the marketing sucks. Who knows? I don't care. I come in with a clean slate and try to solve problems for people. So for sale by owners, MLS, expired, etc. They took their house off the market. We're going to help them out. Then you got Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. Wow, you can't get a deal off of there. Sure you can. People list their house on there all the time. One of the places I tell you to check is look in the yard sale sections. See somebody say moving, got to sell. Send them a message. You know, I don't like to give you my secret, but I'm going to give you a little secret. Send them a message. Hey, did you sell the house yet? You'd be surprised. Oh, we were going to clean it up and list it. How about if we bought it as is? You don't have to do none of that. And take everything that's in it and make this an easy sale for you. You think something like that will help you out? All it takes is one person to say yes. Now you got a fish on the hook. Now we go to work. We reeling them in. And then you got driving for dollars. These are just some of the ways, but there's plenty of other ways to find these deals. Driving for $4. You'll see a house that looks empty. There's a house over here. I got a house over here in Florissant that I'm dealing with right now. I drove by over there at nighttime. I'm like, man, that house, another house on the corner, is pitch black dark, meaning ain't no lights on. Is this house vacant? So I put it in my little system. Absentee owner. Somebody owned it since like 2008, since the crash. looks vacant. Probably got tenants or had tenants at one time, but it's pitch black dark. So I sent him some mail and we're reaching out to him to see if he wants to sell. Probably don't want to sell, but if he does, we got to get something in his ear or something on his desk or something on his eyesight to let him know we want to buy. Do you want to sell? We got a bunch of ways we can buy. So we're going to see what happens with that. Marketing. You got to let them know you exist. So your action plan for this week is talk to 5 sellers and structure one deal this week. That's it. Talk to 5 sellers. If you ain't even talk to 5 sellers, how are you expecting to get a deal? You know, people say, I want to get a house. I want to do a deal. You got to start talking to people. I'm not saying you got to have all the answers. I'm not saying you got to have all the correct questions, but you have to start the conversation. Start the conversation. We always start with the 4 pillars: timeline, condition, price, motivation. Timeline, condition, price, motivation. Those 4 things are what we start with. Once we understand that, we see if we should even be talking to these people. Do they have a true motivation? Do they need to even be talking to you, or should they be listening on the market? And if they're going to listen on the market, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We can even listen on the market for them, but that's a whole nother conversation. I got a house on the MLS right now. Somebody was called themselves chastising me on Facebook, like, hey, how'd you put this house on the market? Hey, you got this house listed. Because I'm owner by contract. Owner by contract. Yes, you can list properties on the MLS when you have it under contract as a wholesaler, but you need to have some proper verbiage, and that's the paperwork that I'm talking about that we have at futurecashflowclub.com. When we put a property under contract as a wholesale deal or as a creative deal, we have permission to put the property on the MLS, literally right in our contract. Come on, man. Why you got to go back and ask the seller for permission when we already get permission from day one? That's what I'm talking about. Get in the game and make it happen. So that's your action plan. You need to talk to at least 5 sellers. As a matter of fact, we're going to double it because y'all playing. 10 sellers. It's springtime. People moving. School is getting out and stuff coming up here, and people are getting that money. So 10 sellers. You need to talk to 10 sellers this week. You don't need money. You need structure. You know, a lot of people think they got to have a lot of money to do these deals. It does not take money to do real estate. It takes skill sets. All these houses I own, how much money I got in them? Very little, if nothing, if not none. If you really accumulate all the houses together with the money I got in them, or I had in them at one time, I don't have any money in any house or credit. I have no loans in my name. I do not have loans in my name. As a matter of fact, my mentor, when I learned real estate starting in 2018, told me you better not put no loans in your name. The OG Ron LeGrand. He said, you better not put no loans in your name. And so I never put any loans in my name. I don't see any reason to. There's people out here that need your help. Why would I go get a loan and start a brand new 30-year mortgage and pay on a house for 30 years when somebody else been paying for the first 10 years and I can just take it over with a lower interest rate and a lower payment and less red tape, and I don't have to go give blood, mother's maiden name, social security number, tax returns, W-2s, bank statements, all that crap. I don't have to deal with none of that. Why would I want to do it? So you don't need the money. You need skills to pay the bills. That's what you need, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions on any of the lessons? We're going to open it up now. Let's see here. Daryl. All right. What this strategy is, this real estate. We're talking about real estate, buying property, helping people through different deals. That's what we're talking about. We're making deals happen. We're helping people with their real estate problems, but you have to get the skills to pay those bills. Take the time to be serious about it. You know, we get serious about a lot of things. Like, I'm serious about if the Spurs gonna win the dang on NBA championship. I'm serious about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're gonna win the Super Bowl. You serious about all this other stuff, but are you serious about getting your life together, getting your cash flow up, so you don't have to do that thing called slave for the rest of your life? You know, retirement can be real for you, to be honest. It really can. Or even semi-retired. Even if you got an extra $1,500, $2,000 a month of cash flow, could that help you out? I'm sure it could. It can help a lot of people out. But if you don't take the time to say, hey, I'm going to take the energy and say, go learn how is this game being played? Why are these people being able to buy these houses? How are they doing it? You don't need a license. You don't need a bunch of money. You don't need a bunch of credit, but you do need to understand how the game is played. Once you understand how the game is played, that's more valuable than the credit. That's more valuable than the cash. That's more valuable than a license that don't teach you nothing about what I'm talking about right now. Nothing wrong with having a real estate license if you want to represent other people. But I'm not representing other people. I'm representing myself. Why do I need to go make a new bill, a new subscription? We got subscriptions just doing this marketing for the wholesale deals and stuff. That bandit sign, that's a marketing. Sell your house for full price, marketing. We buy houses, marketing. I buy houses on the hat, marketing. That's the game we playing. You have to do it. So hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully you got something that you can take away from this. And don't just learn this stuff, man. Learn it and go implement it. Don't waste your time learning a bunch of stuff and don't take action on it. Learn something, go implement it, and stumble to the finish line. Believe in yourself. You can do it. You know, that's what I did. When I first started in real estate back in 2018, I had fell asleep one day watching some motivational videos. I'm like, oh, wow. I woke up and there was a dude, a black man walking around with a big old beard, walking around talking about real estate named Max Maxwell. And I'm like, what? We in real estate now? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Oh, no, you don't need a whole bunch of money. Oh, no, you don't need your real estate license. Oh, no, you don't need a 795 credit score. Oh, no, you should have never told me that. What do you think I did? I started immediately. I didn't wait, didn't ask nobody, hey, you think this going to work? Hey, what you know about this? I started marketing. I got me some bandit signs that say, it didn't say sell your full price back then. It just said we buy houses and a phone number. And that phone rang. I got my first 2 or 3 deals off of bandit signs. One of the guys, matter of fact, the first deal I did, wholesale deal, I never met the seller. If I walked by that dude in the grocery store today, I wouldn't even know him. He called my bandit sign. He said, hey, I want to sell my house over in Walnut Park. What you know about over there? Walnut Park. He told me he wanted, I think, $12,000 for the house, something like that. I'm like, I don't know about that. So I did some calculations. I said, I got the information. You know, I didn't have the timeline, condition, motivation, price like I did today. Back then, I was just stumbling, asking questions. What do you want for the house? What's the condition of the house? You know, stuff like that, basics. He told me about $12,000. I said, give me a minute. I'm going to call you right back. So I'm trying to figure out comps. I'm like, man, these houses sell for cheap over here. That's going to be hard to do. So what did I do? I said, well, houses rent. Let's just say this was I think a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. So I said, even if I rented it at $600 a month, 600 times 12, what's that? 7,200. So I said, well, I'm going to offer him 7,200 and see what he say. I called him back. Mr. Seller, they called me on the bandit sign that I never met. Hey, Mr. Seller, would you take 7,200 for the house? Sure will. What do you think I did then? June, sent him that DocuSign. He signed that black ink on white paper. He told me he left the key in the mailbox, and I never met this guy. Did a wholesale deal there. Made $1,800 on my first deal. Sold that house for $9,000. So you can do this. $1,800 was just a proof of concept. I've even done deals less than that. I did $1,000 deals before, you know, just to help people out, to keep it moving, you know, whatever. I ain't have to do nothing. So that house made $1,800. It was proof of concept. It showed me that this thing works. Never met this guy, like I said, never met the seller at all. Wouldn't know him. All on the phone, did it through the computer. So I started out the game virtual. That was another thing that I learned early on. Learned that from King Kong. Come on, man. Shit. He was up here talking about doing deals, never go see the house. I said, what? King Kong doing what? I got my skills together. And so I said, we're going to talk on the phone. This is all pre-pandemic, by the way. I'm talking 2018, 2019, before the 2020 pandemic. So I'm already doing creative deals. I'm already doing virtual deals in my city, that is, virtual in the city. And I made it work. So that's what we got. Let's see if we got any more questions. Shout out to King Kong. That's right. That's right. How did you create your pipeline of buyers? Good question. Marketing, just like everything else. So I pulled lists from I don't use it anymore. A website called List Source. They charge you for the list. I don't know if they still working today because, you know, so many competitors to that. But back then, we were buying lists. Back then, it was costing money to do skip tracing. You can't even get 10 cent, 20 cent, 30 cent skip tracing and stuff. Back then, it might have been 50 cent or $1 or whatever they were charging. It wasn't cheap like that. They charge you, especially even before that. It's all this stuff got cheaper and easier. So it's easier today to wholesale than it ever was before, I think. But what do I know? I ain't been in the game long enough to know. But I created a pipeline through a site called List Source and wokesource.com, aka PropStream. If you want to get your free trial to PropStream, check that out. Wokesource.com. That's where I started off with that. I got my list right there. Get your 7-day free trial, wokesource.com. That gives you MLS data. That gives you who owns a property data. That gives you all of this different data across the nation. No matter what state you're in, you can look up and say, hey, who owned that property? Oh, wow, he owes $87,000 for it. And he's trying to get $300,000? No, man, he can come down. He got equity. You can pull a list on here. You can pull cash buyers. You can pull expired listings that's been on the MLS that did not sell for whatever reason, meaning it failed. They listed it, tried to sell it, and it did not go through for whatever reason. You can pull those lists right on there. You know, you can pull any type of list: absentee owners, vacant properties, all different types of lists. Anything you can name as far as a list type. Wokesource.com. Get your 7-day free trial. Tap that. You'll be glad you did. You say, man, I didn't even know all this data was out here. There ain't no secrets in real estate, ladies and gentlemen. Ain't no secrets. You can try to hide, but we're going to find you, baby. We're going to knock on your door. So hopefully you got something good out of this. And when you swing, you know we don't miss. I'm going to get ready to get up out of here and do some more woke stuff. Any other questions before we land? FutureCashFlowClub.com. That's the place to go. If you really want to be serious, if you're serious, not delirious, do that there. All right. So I will catch y'all next Sunday, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. That's when we'll be back on next week. And we're going to be talking that real estate talk, baby. Somebody got to talk it. Walk it like I talk it. Join the Future Cash Flow Club on Facebook as well. That's our Facebook group right there. Wham, bam, thank you, man. It's free. Don't cost you a dime. I like free stuff, but everything ain't free. Freedom ain't free. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you think you're going to get free for free, you lie to yourself. You're going to pay somewhere, either with time or money or skills or bills. You're going to pay one way or the other. Be smart with what you pay. Pay for what you need to pay for, but don't just be paying just to be paying because the money burning your hand. Ooh, that was a rhyme. One more time. So hopefully y'all have a good Easter Sunday. Thanks for coming out. Give this video a thumbs up. Give it a like. Give it a share to somebody who might want to learn about this stuff. And they'll be glad you sent it to them. So do what you do. Be who you be. And I'll see you before you see me.
So I want to get into real estate, but don't know where to start.
Well, what I would say is to join the Future Cash Flow Club. It's a community of investors where we talk about wholesaling, we talk about creative deal structuring, buying houses subject to, all of the creative stuff that everybody's talking about. You don't need a real estate license or any of that.
Wow, where do I sign up?
Well, I would say go to futurecashflowclub.com. That's futurecashflowclub.com. You can even get a free trial. Try it out today. So yes, I basically just wanted to remind everybody exactly how the Future Cash Flow Club works, because I've been getting a lot of messages like, what is that about? How does it work? It's basically a group. So you see how I do these live seller calls, things like that. You get to get all the replays for all of those. You actually can get the paperwork, purchase agreements, assignment agreements, cancellation agreements, addendums, all of that stuff that you need if you sign up for the elite package at futurecashflowclub.com. Or if easier, it's probably you can just go check it out for a free trial. Lots of goodies in there, behind the scenes stuff, actual help with your deals. If you want to communicate, say, hey, I'm stuck on a deal, I need some help, I'm looking for lenders, I'm looking for whatever, I'm a resource for you. So all you have to do is be part of the club. futurecashflowclub.com. Check it out.
Hey Chris, is that you? Damn.
I don't know what you been doing. You been asleep? Let me wake you up with something. Straight up. Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Chris Monroe. R to the O-E. I flip houses, rent cars, and make money. You know I'm not no motherfucker dummy. This how